All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for another IGC Presents Valoris Tantibus, Session 15, The Calm Before. We'll start off with a little recap of what happened last time. This one was written from the journal of Tanaka Makoto, and the most important takeaway was they killed motherfucking Tiki. All right. No, but you guys were a part of a big heist. Kiev and the Order of the Eye helped orchestrate this. You guys were hired on as extra muscle to protect these wagons full of coin moving from one bank to its new central location. Of course, things couldn't go perfect for our party. The Brotherhood of Midnight staged an attack under the guise of the Merkava. However, our party was successful in thwarting them off, and they also came across an old companion. Ricciardo seemed to have risen from the dead to, I don't know, communicate, interfere. It's hard to see, but he was put down very, very quickly. After the scene was over, 3 of the 4 carts made it to the bank. The other one did not. And our party has a little bit of a payday. All right. You guys have the floor. What would you like to do?
That's a good question.
It is a
I'll
good
tell you
question.
what I'd like to do. I'd like to invest in a Roth IRA.
Not invented yet.
I would like to invent the Roth IRA.
Make me an invention roll. No.
We were at the bank when we last left off, correct?
We can be. The party was a little split. Some of you guys were taking care of settling up with Kiev. Some of you guys were at the bank. But I believe the next day after you guys rested, you guys were planning on doing a little shopping.
Right.
And divvying out the coin. Have you guys decided how you wish to do so?
I know we had discussed it some. We didn't get a lot of votes.
Not a lot of votes. We got 0 votes.
Yeah, we didn't actually vote on anything, but the plans that were brought up were one of 2 basically, where if we decide that we want to buy a house or something, we would do that first and then split the money. If anybody did not want their cut, so it would be 7 ways for all 7 people. If somebody doesn't want their cut, they can either choose to recontribute it to the pool and distribute it to the other people, or choose to donate it to a cause they deem worthy.
I don't want to speak for Selef, but I do remember him saying that Petrovich probably wouldn't want any of the money, so it'd be split 6 ways.
But those were the ideas that were brought up.
Yeah.
If people would like to give input now.
I don't care how it's split.
I would say house first, if that's what you all want to do. Just because it's going to be much harder for us to we then have to repool the resources and be like, hey, here's what we want to spend it on. But yeah, with a 6-way split, what's that total to, depending on what we get?
We got 200k. That's a
Total. Yeah.
200,000 over 6 is just a bunch of 3s. 5 figures of 3s. So 33,333.33 a piece. It then comes down to what kind of house-ish thing we want.
So I think here's a really important question we should ask. Atherin, how much does a house cost?
So I'm going to answer that question with a question. Are you guys looking to
How
just
big?
purchase property, or were you guys wanting to incorporate some of the stronghold rules?
I think we had at least brought up the stronghold rules.
I believe we were looking into doing the stronghold.
As a secondary question to that, two things were mentioned last session. One was House Ilarion has a sudden vacancy that we could occupy,
That it does.
and the other, which would be funny to me because fuck you, Edward. I'm especially bitter about that one in particular.
The one
Yeah.
that I had brought up is that Zendra's old house is also conveniently vacant.
I have a feeling we might have less eyes on us if we go with Zendra's place.
And then
Just because
the other thought was then we can also put up Zendra long term in some place that we can secure.
That, I mean, we'd be able to do that either way, I'd think.
True.
But
it's
one
also
of
a
these
place
is
that's
in
familiar.
one of these is in the Nobles Quarter.
They're
One of
both
these
in the
is
Noble Quarter.
oh, they are
They're
both
both in the
Nobles?
Noble Quarter.
That is
Oh,
correct.
my bad.
Now the question I had was, do either of these count as a stronghold for the stronghold rules? Because I don't know them.
So I would think that it would fall under a keep.
All right.
Okey-doke.
I mean, I tend to agree with this thought, Naz. Anywhere we go is probably going to need to be more fortified. Q in like 3 sessions, we're gonna have a housewarming party, and like Makoto and I are gonna be standing next to a door, just thinking how do we reinforce this to make sure that entrants can't get in.
Well, we do know for a fact that House Ilarion. Well, what
Has a
was
panic
House
room.
Ilarion? Yeah, it has a panic room.
That it does.
So in terms of things, House Ilarion is much smaller than the Astul estate. I'll just give you some kind of base costs right now. House Ilarion. Well, let's start for building a level 1 stronghold for a keep. Cost 10,000 gold. Now, House Ilarion is a small one. It's already built. We're looking at about 7,500 gold. House Astul is much larger. It could even maybe expand into other things, such as like quote unquote an establishment, like a bar or some sort of shop type thing there in the Noble Quarter. You're looking at 14,000 gold for it.
Honestly, neither of those is very bad. Let me do math real quick.
You said House Astul was 14?
Yes, but it is much larger.
And how much was Ilarion? House Ilarion?
7.5.
7.5 over 6 would leave us with about 32,000 apiece. And the other one would leave us with exactly 31,000 apiece.
I'm fine with 31,000.
That's a lot of arrows.
Why don't we just buy both and then we rent one out and make a return on investment?
That's an idea. 21.5 would put us at
You wanna be a lord?
29,750 apiece, but then we have income.
Exactly.
Then we don't need to adventure.
Valoris
I'm
Tantibus,
kidding.
realty.
This week on Home Hunters.
Valoris
Bandits attack!
Valoris Realty, Tantibus, what's it called? The Tantibus branch. Just start a realty company.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that we stop adventuring by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying if we have something like passive income in the background, we'd probably be hurting a lot less for, hey, you want to know where... I want to go buy some new form of armor or something as we get higher in the levels.
So think of it this way. As far as these estates comes, title, land, those sorts of things with nobility, these would offer mechanically a level of kind of comfort of paying bills and that sort of thing. Like, what is a good way to put that? I know what I'm trying to say. There are definitely rules for it, but I can't remember what exactly it's called. Lifestyle. Each one would offer a passive, quote-unquote, lifestyle.
All right. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted with the Stool estate, because if we go for the smaller one, we're gonna have trouble. Like, if we ever find the need or want to expand, we're gonna have more trouble with it. Whereas the Stool estate, there's enough people here that we could just really kind of easily.
Yes. So think of it this way.
And as an added bonus, Zendra gets her house back.
Yeah.
It's true. If you went with the Alarian estate, it was obviously designed for less people. It's one story. There's not a lot to the structure itself. Some renovation would have to be done, blah, 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 for sleeping quarters. Whereas the Stool estate, it is an estate proper. It has wings. It has multiple bedrooms, etc., etc., etc.
Sal wanted to have some input. What was that?
Do we need to launder the money?
That's a really good question.
Or is that considered done because of the, what's it called?
Because Kiev.
Because Kiev.
I don't know. Did you guys ask that question to Kiev?
Was not there.
Do you trust him?
I mean, no.
Does anybody trust Kiev?
I have arm's length level trust with him. Does that count?
I mean, that's some level.
I mean, we can if we're going shopping today. And, like, we can stop by, pick up some stuff, ask, hey, by the way, is that money clean? Or do we have to find a way to make it clean?
Yeah, considering that it's going to be really suspicious that the guys who just did a,
That is a good point.
who lost a cart just conveniently show up and are like, hey, we got some money. I wonder where that
You
came
all are planning your lives, and I am thinking, I don't want to go to jail.
Right, exactly.
Question is,
All right, so while you guys find out an answer for that, it seems what I would do is, in the background, choose one of those two options, divvy out the money, and then we can progress forward. Does that sound like a fair compromise?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can. I mean, at the very worst, we could lay low and wait to buy the property after all this shit is said. And
Yeah,
done.
this is all kind of mechanical things. I just wanted to get it out of the way quick. So you're really left with the option of the small one or the larger one.
Did we have a reason to say no to both? I didn't hear it.
I mean, you could technically buy both, but again, it is more suspicious.
That is a good point.
Yeah, the big house is fine.
Yeah, I like the
Okay.
big house idea.
All right, so let's put that down in the ledger. Everyone can divvy out 31 K.
It rounds out exactly 31k gold for everybody.
All right.
Nice.
If you need to do any sort of shopping, we can do that like in chat or whatever. We can figure that out. Now you guys are left with about 6 days until the eclipse. What do you intend to do about it?
Panic.
Okay, one for panicking. I mean, I could see probably some anxiety building up in the characters.
More realistically, Boris is probably going to start looking into asking Yosef some questions about getting us up onto the ring to investigate what's going if there's anything up there.
Okay. So we will role play that out in a little bit. What are the rest wanting to do?
Burn all of this to the ground. But not really.
You don't have enough fire.
Just come back out, my city's on fucking fire. I'm like, God damn it.
I actually don't know what I want to do. I want to see what everybody else wants to do.
Any other suggestions?
I would like to do a bit of shopping in the one place where I know I don't have to worry about whether the money's clean.
Yep, we can definitely take care of that as well. I mean, you guys can try to gather more information out on the streets. You could relax for the next 6 days. Gosh, you could maybe try to get more in cahoots with the Order of the Eye, see what they're all about. You could go have your fortune read by the Vistani again.
Oh yeah, we only have to have it
Yeah,
read
yeah,
once, and then
spend 3
suddenly
more
we're gonna
days
be
on
on
that.
top of the day.
I'd actually like to see if I can contact.
All right, well,
any,
thank you for
like,
joining me. I really appreciate it.
Basically, people in my profession, so like bounty hunters of some kind, local information brokers, maybe not the Order of the Eye, and see if I can dig up any information
Okay.
on the ritual, weird goings on as of late, specifically pertaining to the Brotherhood or the Crows.
All right, we
Or,
can
like,
definitely do that.
uniforms going missing, specifically the Merkava stuff happening. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do, I think.
Okay. Well, if anybody thinks of anything, please let me know and we can roleplay that out. Hal, mechanically, I want you to make me a blind investigate. You can roll it at advantage as you are going to try to use your stature, your background into this.
This is gonna go horribly. I have a -1.
It's fine. And Boris, you are going to go speak with Iosif. He's going to tell you. Well, first of all, why would you want to go up there?
Well, when we were taking out the Brotherhood, they made mention of something wanting to be above the city, and my first thought is, well, what's above the city? And Boris is just going to motion to the ring out of a window, I'm going to guess.
Okay, sure.
There is one? Okay. So, with that, I was thinking if we could get at least a small group. I don't have to be part of it if you don't feel comfortable sending me up there personally, but somebody at least should go check to see if somebody's. I mean, where better to hide it? It's in plain sight, and nobody's allowed up there anyway.
Yes, I see where you're going with this. And as far as sending you, he kind of looks you up and down. I'd be a fool not to send somebody with wings that high. Let me see. He goes and he sits back at his desk and starts to pull out different sorts of notebooks and things, kind of skipping through pages as he's not exactly finding the information that he's looking for. After a few minutes, he does stumble across a book, flips through. I'm sure that they have to do some sort of maintenance. He pulls out a parchment, a pen and quill, and starts to scribble an address down for you. Here, go see them, but good luck getting any information. They're a little backwards.
Do you know when the last time they performed maintenance was?
I could not tell you. It is not something that I think of often.
Fair. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
Oh,
But,
and did you get that last field report?
Yes, I did. He kind of points to another area on his desk that seems to be piled high, maybe a few inches thick, of paperwork.
The lovely, lovely days of paperwork.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
What's oops?
I hit
What?
something here on my end.
That doesn't sound good.
He accidentally dealt 24d10 damage.
Is
to
that a lot?
us.
Okay, so you have that. Hal, you spend a good portion of the morning kind of investigating in and around the streets, trying to get kind of the scuttlebutt of what exactly is going on. What kind of questions are you posing?
I'm asking around, not specifically about acquiring like uniforms, but like if anybody has been asking around about acquiring Merkava uniforms or some kind of contraband clothing. So I'll stop by if there's like a tavern with a job board for this kind of work, or maybe stop by some like clothiers, maybe in the seedier side of town. I'll offer up some coin if they have any information.
Yeah, absolutely. So you put your talents to work here, and again, you're going to spend a good portion of the morning following and tracking down leads, some dead ends, that sort of thing. Eventually, you speak with a kind of a small group, either adventurers or one of them maybe does do bounties on the side. They do give you a little bit. They tell you that they remember seeing somebody walking out of a shop close to the slums of all places, and he swore that he saw kind of that metal type insignia that is on the Merkava uniforms, but of course it was very dark, it was hard to see. Maybe it was a trick of the light, but he gives you the rough general location of that shop.
I'll thank him, hand him like 5 gold.
Okay.
And I'll say if I'm in range over the earcom, I think I actually might have gotten something. And I'll tell them just like the general location of this shop, and then I'm gonna go check it out.
Okay.
Are we in range?
Yeah, as long as you guys are in the city, it does seem to work.
Copy that.
Question.
And okay, and I will expand on the powers of these as well. Go ahead.
Would that shop be anywhere near the maintenance workers that I'm going to go see?
Different area.
Okay.
Basically, you're going to go to the quarter of stone, and Hal is in the shadows.
Okay. I figured I'd ask.
No, it's a great question. So through tells and stuff, I've been asked some questions about the abilities of these magical earrings. So mechanically, this is how they work. By default, without attunement, it is like an open comm. So when you speak to everyone, but you can only do short quips and phrases. You can't have any actual conversation or anything like that. However, it is possible to attune two of these together. They kind of tether. It requires attunement, but you can have an open dialogue back and forth between those two. But it does take attunement on both ends.
Does it? Can you attune to more than two? Can you like pair them all together?
No, because otherwise it would just be way OP.
Okay.
But great
Why do we have
question.
to be near each other?
So as a default, we can like broadcast to each other, but anybody with one could be listening.
Correct.
Okay.
But attunement slots, again, you only get 3 of them, so it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would work Solid Snake codec, where you tune to the right channel and boom, you're good. But you attune magic. Anyways.
Fair enough. Okay. But like, if it's attuned, and it's only 2 can be paired, you said?
Okay, so when you do that property, 2 of them have to be paired. Since you have 7 of them, you could have 3 sets of attunement, so to speak. A to B, C to D, E to F.
Interesting.
Yes, and when you attune directly to, you lose the ability for open comms. They are only communicating between those 2 individuals.
Okay, so it becomes cans on a string. Got it.
Essentially, yes, a magical string. But conversation unhindered. All right, any other questions? All right, moving forward. Who wants to go first? Boris? Hal?
Boris can go first.
All right.
All right.
Are you taking anybody with you?
Does anyone want to come with?
I think it would be better if I didn't go with, to be honest. Or wait, is this for the meeting or going up to the...
I'm just heading over for a meeting with the maintenance workers.
Yeah, fuck it, why not? I'll join you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Okay, cool.
All right. So Boris and Makoto, you guys head over to the Quarter of Stone. Again, this is the heavy industrial area. You get to a point, it's actually set within the plateau that is adjacent to the shadows. You go in and you can see the columns of smoke just bellowing out of pipes. You see the turning of gears. Bellows going up and down, a lot of banging and clanging going on inside. You'll see the sparks of light dancing off the walls as you enter. It is a kind of like a burnt earthy kind of smell as you immediately walk in. You can see gnomes and dwarves, a few elves, humans laboring away at all sorts of various mechanical devices.
Boris will furrow his brow and scratch his head at the smells and the enclosedness of it all.
Makoto's just straight up holding his head from sensory overload. How do people live in this these conditions.
As you guys are kind of standing there at the entryway, one of the gnomes kind of is pushing some sort of cart and nearly runs over your feet like he has not a care in the world.
Really, gentlemen. Excuse me, sir.
The gnome kind of looks back at you, continues to push the cart. Yeah?
I'm going to follow.
And then
Could you point me in the direction of the supervisor?
he slams into another cart, immediately stops.
Oof.
The
Do I have a
clattering
badge on me?
clattering of tools hit the floor. Some of the other workers kind of look up for a second, but they can continue working. However, one gentleman does take notice of this. He's got on kind of like a black leather apron, big goggles above his eyes, big bushy eyebrows, beard down to his navel, kind of walks over. Oh, can I help ya?
Question.
Dwarf.
Do I have a badge of some kind or some official
Do
marking
you?
of... I'd imagine I would. I'm
Then
working
you
for-
then you do for sure.
Okay. I'm just gonna pull out my badge and say Boris Gertsnov with the Merkava. Or
Bogatir.
Bogatir. Yeah, my bad.
I know who you are. What do you want?
Just looking to have some questions answered about the ring maintenance schedules.
Why would the Bogatir want to know a thing about that?
Just following up on some questions. We like being thorough, you see.
I don't like things interfering with our business.
Don't worry, we're not going to be sticking our noses in anywhere we shouldn't.
Who's this new recruit?
He's a concerned
Trainee.
party.
Oh, which is it?
I actually didn't hear what Makoto said.
He said
Trainee.
trainee.
A trainee can always be a concerned party. He lives and works here.
He turns back to the shop as some of the eyes have kind of are gazing in your direction. Less hammers are falling. I didn't tell you to stop. They kind of hurriedly, you hear the clanging pickup pace, so to speak. Oh, come on, follow me. He'll kind of
Thank
lead you back through. To the average onlooker, it is just full of mostly just junk, piles of things. But to these craftsmen, I mean, they make a living. This is their bread and butter. He'll kind of guide you through to a back area. You'll see kind of a workbench that has been converted into kind of a desk of sorts. You can see just assortment of piles of things all about the room. This kind of soot-colored walls. Again, the smell back here smells like burnt earth that got wet. He starts to go through his things, just moving bits and pieces. Now, what do you want to know about the schedule?
Well, we're looking to see when the last maintenance was and when the next one is. And from there, we might need another question or two answered.
Well, with the eclipse coming up, 2 days after. Before that, 6 weeks before.
6 weeks ago. Boris is going to just start jotting down a couple notes. Have you taken anybody new onto your crew?
I don't know. Hold on. He starts to flip through a book, and you can see the penmanship of maybe a 7-year-old. It's very, very difficult to read. Kind of half Tantibinian, half Dwarvish. He goes through. He stops midway, scratches his beard, reaches underneath the makeshift kind of workbench, looks over at you guys, pulls out a jug, just takes a big gulp, kind of dripping down his beard. He'll slide it back, and then he'll go back to the book and flip a couple more pages.
Yeah, it sounds like a dwarf.
Last recruit, about 3.5 months ago.
And your maintenance schedules, it sounds like every 6 weeks.
Yeah, give or take, depending on the weather. That's dangerous work up there.
Oh, I'd imagine. You go all the way up to the top of the ring.
I go nowhere.
That's fair. Why risk your own life? That's what they pay them for.
Do your men go up to the top of the ring?
Aye, of course. There's... He'll count, and kind of scratch his head. 6 localized points that, basically, he'll start kind of talking technical jargon at this point. You're amazed that either he's well advanced when it comes to these sorts of things, or he's literally just making up the words on the spot.
Boris is going to do his best to make a sketch of the ring and the points that he vaguely understands where they would be doing maintenance at.
Yeah, from what you guys gather, well, why don't you both make me intelligence checks?
Sure.
Oh, baby, that's what I'm best at.
I know, right?
No.
Oh, God.
I hid mine because I don't want to see it.
Okay. So you guys can kind of role play this out. Makoto, you don't understand a fucking thing that this guy said. Boris, you don't know. You look at him from his facial expressions. Again, he's Aarakocra, but you think that he's following along, or he's just trying to bullshit his way through it. The key takeaways is there are what he refers to like 6 collection points. It does its hocus pocus magic.
Alright. Boris is... How long does he go on for?
Oh, he will just continue on. Like, his explanation... Have you ever talked to a programmer?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Similar conversation. Pretty much until you're like, oh, hey, how about that weather?
About 5 minutes into the techno babble, Boris is just going to be like, okay, tell you what. Could you just mark the points on here where you guys do maintenance? And
Yeah.
he's just got a drawing of the ring.
Yeah, he pulls out his kind of charcoal pencil and makes 6 large X's.
Thank you. It'll give us a good idea of where to look for in the event that anything...
You got everything you need?
Yes.
Like you
indeed.
won't be back?
I think so.
Good.
Tell you what, if I am back, I'll make sure to bring you some more of the good stuff in there.
Aye, but don't let me cruisy.
Oh, I hear you.
Okay, mission success.
So as they're walking away, Makoto's just gonna be like, "So are we going up there? Cause
Do you want to learn to fly?
Do you want to learn to fly?
I'm willing to drag you up out of character. I'm willing to drag you up there.
Makoto just kind of smirks and is like, "Did you miss what happened last night?"
All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
all right.
So as you guys are prepping to fly off, we're going to flip back to Hal. Were you taking anybody with you?
Did anybody want to come with me? Like, if anybody wanted to, they could come. but I was just going solo and just letting everybody know where I was going in case something happens. And I would have given them basically like a code word that I will send over the radio if stuff goes to shit.
Yellow.
We are in a, I don't know, I don't know what word I should use. There is a purple situation going on.
Fair enough. He'll say if something goes wrong, you'll know the signal. All right. All right. So Hal, you kind of navigate through the slums, and you find this. It's almost like a general store, like a sundry one-stop shop. It's not located super far away from where Zendra's grandfather's house was, but it's not exactly the same district, so to speak, same area. As you kind of look at the shop, it's mostly nondescript. If you were just walking down the street and didn't know it was a shop of sorts, it really wouldn't jump out to invite you in, so to speak. The door is closed. There is a little small placard above it that simply says Sundries.
All right, I'm gonna head in.
Okay, you open the door and cling, cling. Behind the counter, you see a human female kind of look up at you. Can I help ya?
I'm gonna look around for a minute, but then maybe. Does it look like the kind of shop that there's just stuff out on the shelves, right?
Yeah, little cubby holes that different things are placed. You can see rope and pythons and rations, general clothing, just a mix match of general items, candles, etc.
All right. I'm going to go and just pick out, I don't know, a few random things like some, some rations, like maybe 2 days worth of rations, some 10 pitons, whatever the fuck they're called, and maybe a couple of glass vials or empty potion bottles, basically.
Yeah,
put
sure.
them up to the counter. Put them on the counter, and while they're ringing me out, just act like I'm kind of, what would it be? Just not shop talk. What's the word I'm looking for? Small talk kind of stuff.
Yeah. What's your passive now? 22?
Passive perception is 21 still.
21, okay. So a few things that you're going to notice. The woman that's sitting on a small stool kind of back there, you notice that she does, although she's trying to not take a great interest, she's trying to focus her energies on her knitting. But you can see her eyes kind of follow you throughout the room as you were shopping. She's dressed pretty plainly. Most of it's very non-loose fitting clothes, like she's not in a dress or anything like that. One thing that you do notice right away, as you kind of set your items on the counter, she has some very fine leather boots. But she rings you up, and she's pretty nice about it. Standard fare as far as prices go. Nothing high, nothing low.
While she's ringing me up, I'll just bring up oh, you get to check out the festival last night.
They don't really like us going up there.
But you know as well as I do, we always find our way up there.
She kind of looks you up and down. Well, I didn't figure you'd be a regular around here.
Not too new to the area. Used to hang out down, and I'll give kind of a general area of where that tavern was that hates us.
Tiger Street, I think it was.
Down by Tiger Street.
Next to Zendra's burnt down other house.
Oh, I know that area. My grandmom's over there.
All right. Yeah, shame about the fire. About a week or two back, right?
She kind of scratches her head. You can see her hair's kind of pulled back tightly in a ponytail, short ponytail. Yes. I heard the fire. Yes. An old man, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I wasn't too close at the time, but you know, I heard it wasn't terrible. Nobody died, at least.
Oh, that's good.
You know, I heard somebody talking the other day that you're the person to see about you know, custom clothing.
Aye, lots of people talk. Which people?
Oh, you know, just passers-by. Something about being really good at working metals into, you know, red cloth. And I'll just dead stare her and
Okay.
like drop 50 gold on the counter.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna have you to me, the way you describe it is more like of a persuasion-y charm.
That's kind of what I'm trying to do,
okay.
but like basically bribe as well.
So
like,
I'm gonna give you advantage because of the gold.
Alrighty. Rolling blind.
Perfect. All right. She kind of eyes you for a second. You guys kind of have that deadlock stare. She reaches kind of between her shirt and trousers and produces a small pouch as she kind of scoops the gold inside. Eyes you up for a second. Aye, but those were paid for.
I thought they would have been, yeah. Looking for a name. Description even is fine.
She kind of looks around the room to make sure that no one else is in the shop, but you both damn well know that no one has entered.
I would have noticed.
Oh, yeah. Well, that and there's the clangy bell as well. She takes a moment and kind of produces a smaller bag and starts to put your items in there. I don't know his name. He was a big lad. Maybe 6.5 feet tall, about just as wide.
Out of character. Does it sound like she's describing Brother Fist?
Yes. Seems, at least physique-wise, yes.
Anybody else with him?
No, he came in and paid for it. A few days later, a few men and, well, dressed similar to you, came and picked up the items.
Thought so. All right. Thank you very much.
What's this about?
Something that happened at the festival last night.
Oh, did something happen? I didn't hear.
You're probably better off not hearing. And I'll take the bag and just head to the door.
All right. You have a good day. Did somebody say question?
No, I was like, I was just saying, aren't you nice? Don't even say goodbye. That's out of character. Don't worry about it.
And I'll, like, as I'm leaving, I'll say, thanks for the things.
You're welcome here at any time. Just don't bring any trouble.
Wouldn't dream of it. And now I need to add the stuff that I bought to my inventory. All right, that's all for me, and I'm gonna head back to the group.
All right. Oh, I see Shizuka is joining us.
Hello.
Did you charge me at all any additional money for the stuff? Or
No,
was it... Okay.
average wears prices.
Okay. She recognized that I was only buying things as a way to cover the fact that I was bribing her.
Hey, she's got to make a living too, right?
Yeah.
Am I sounding okay?
Yeah.
And welcome, by the way.
What did I say? Tons.
We'll just do a short little recap here. Not a ton has happened. The group has decided to set aside funds to purchase the old Bastool estate, Zendra's old place. And in the upcoming time, you guys will start to move in and take over, so to speak. But they're worried about the money just being too suspicious. Boris and Makoto discovered a little bit more about the maintenance of the ring. They believe that whatever is about to go down is going to happen there. So they've got as much information as they could. Hal has tracked down a lead on where and how the Merkava uniforms were purchased and found. And we're caught up.
Also add 31,000 gold to your inventory.
Right?
All right. So, Shiz, if you have anything in particular that you would like to do, just let me know. This is kind of like a kind of chill. We've got 6 days or so before quote unquote showdown, unless you guys can press your hand and find out a little bit more. Other than that, we'll jump to, I think, Boris and Makoto. I think you guys were going to inspect the ring unless anybody else is coming. All right, so we'll pick right back up with your guys' conversation about flight.
All right. Let's see where the closest one of these is. Boris is gonna comment as he pulls out his map.
Okay, you guys are on the western side of the city.
Yep.
I believe your flight is indefinite. How long does yours last, Makoto? An hour?
10 minutes
Oh, okay.
per spellcast. That should be enough time, right? To get up there at least.
Yeah, to get up there, definitely. How many times can you use it?
2 per short rest.
2 per short rest. All right, so
I'll just have to be on foot when we get up there.
yeah. Which should what's the position of the ring as well? Let me ask that.
So right now it is daytime, so it's in its kind of neutral position. So it doesn't sit. I gotta think about this. Perpendicular to the earth. It is slightly tilted out. I'm trying to think if I could maybe let me do MS Paint right here real quick.
Okay.
You know what? I just had an idea. Just gonna do a quick radio in. Hey Naz, you busy? You want to join me and Boris for some maintenance?
God damn, this is a great drawing.
Is that laughter a yes or a no? That is a fantastic drawing.
And the best thing is, I ranked up to level 43 with this. but I think you can see that it's got that slight angle.
Okay, so it would actually be more like climbing up the first chunk of it, then walking and then climbing back down the other chunk of it.
As you guys haven't really investigated the ring itself, you're not quite sure.
All right, let's. How fast do you think we could get to the top? Is 10 minutes and...
Oh yeah, with flight, is it 30 foot or is it 60?
It's 60 feet around.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you'd have no problem.
I think I'm actually faster than you.
You
with
are.
this.
You're 10 feet faster than I am. Okay, in that case,
Role reversal.
Yeah, really. In that case, let's get up to the top. We'll explore the ones that we can from... Actually, no. Let's go to the first one, see if there's anywhere for you to set down, and then we can go all the way across.
And if not, I've got some time to enjoy the view.
Yeah. If in the event that it's bad, like you can wait where it's
More
flat
flat,
enough
yeah.
that you can actually stand.
I mean, I would assume there's some I'd assume there's some kind of foothold. How else would people be able to work on that?
Not sure. Do you guys want to go to the area and investigate first before taking flight, or you want to go ahead straight to the top?
Well, let's check the footing first.
Okay.
Yeah, alright.
As you guys are on the west side, you're actually going to have to continue further west towards the port to get to the base of this. Now, around it, it's secure in the sense that there are kind of stone embankments and such surrounding the area, but there's no like actual patrols or guards that are typically stationed here. Just because of the benefit that it brings to the city, nobody really fucks with it, so to speak. Nobody wants to lose all of the magical electrical energy that it provides the city. Again,
you said the port. Does this happen to be anywhere close to the area with that one aqueduct or the tavern?
Let's see here. Close, yes, because it's in the same district, but it's not like within... How do I want to say that? Like,
oh, yeah, I'll
stone's
navigate.
throw distance, yeah.
I'll navigate to the port.
Yeah.
Because I know the way.
Yep, no problem. You guys make it over there. Again, you see these large stone kind of embankments that kind of surround the base of this. As you guys are looking around, on the inside of the ring, you can actually see what looks like some sort of access panel or door.
Convenient. Naz is here with us by this point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We might not have to fly after all.
Eh.
I'm gonna try the door.
Okay, it doesn't take much. Again, it's not used a ton. The doors are very heavy, but between the three of you guys, you're able to swing that door back in, and you can see it's not a ladder, but very well crafted hand and footholds that go up the ring on the inside of it.
Alright. Who wants to climb and who wants to fly?
Well, this looks easier than the tree climbing I used to do.
Yeah, I'd imagine it must be inside of the ring, I guess.
Yes, it is definitely on the inside. As you guys kind of look up, obviously it has that natural curve to it. Think like the St. Louis Arch. But you can see all sorts of odd-looking tubing and pipe that seems to run throughout, and it's not all straight. It branches off. Some of it hits different sorts of almost like metal boxes or cases and that sort of thing on its way up.
All right. Well, I guess it seems like we're all. I mean, unless you've got a problem with it, Naz, it sounds like we're all gonna be climbing.
I mean, the two of you can fly. I'll just catch up.
All right.
Just no sense burning a spell slot for this.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Yeah, it's just a lot of a lot of climbing. But again, given enough time, you're not going to have any issues. Are you guys going to try to go all the way to the top, or are you going to stop at that first red X?
Might as well stop.
I'd say let's stop at the first red X.
Okay, so we're going to skip forward. We'd say, I don't know, midday by the time Dude Bro gets to climbing. At this point, on the outside, you can see where it's some kind of concentric discs that are aligned. On the inside, you will see kind of the outline of that. Very close to that, there is an access hatch that will open up, you believe.
It will open up. Let's try and open it.
Yeah, okay. So either if you open it up from the inside or outside, once you kind of it's kind of like a twist handle, like a T-shaped handle. You no more than twist it, and then you can hear the buzzing of almost like electricity, but kind of a magic type hum. Naz's nose will probably start to twitch a little bit. On the inside, Makoto, you'll see that door kind of start to pop open. On the outside, kind of extruding out from the side, it appears a small kind of interconnected kind of catwalk as it kind of extends out on its own.
Huh. Well, I guess I'll walk out then.
Okay. You see your flying companions there. Naz kind of tucked away on his droney.
All right, so what are we looking for? I don't think you ever told me that, Boris.
I have no idea, unless you know what occult end of the world doomsday things would look like. Actually, you might be more useful than I originally thought, because you know your religion well, don't you?
I think that was to Makoto.
Hold on a second. Is a cleric asking a blade about religion?
I don't study your religions.
That's fair. It's just it's taking me a bit to process the irony.
Yes, very funny. But in any case, you are at least familiar with their symbols and things that might represent them.
The kami? Yeah.
Yes, the kami.
Wow, you didn't call them heathens.
Well, I've got no clue about them. I've only studied them briefly. The old gods, as we call them.
You're already better to talk to than Petrovich. Anyway. Yes, questions?
Anyway. Do you see anything that might, I don't know, raise concern or be to them?
Symbols of the kami. I'm gonna look around for those.
That sounds like an investigate. And if anybody wants to learn maybe a little bit more about this apparatus, Arcana.
Let's see what happens. Oh, I rolled a 12. That's not terrible. Jesus Christ, that Arcana check.
That expertise, though.
Yeah, really. Wow.
All right. So, Boris, you do your best to kind of wrap your head around this. You obviously know that it is arcane. It is magic. It's like the glorious status symbol of Tantibus is the Great Ring. As far its inner workings, you really don't know. I mean, other than the side that it converts lunar energy into magical energy, which in turn is turned into something techno energy. Naz.
He does a thing.
Naz, I imagine you would probably love to spend just days researching into this. The level of craftsmanship you might be. Again, the general consensus or the feel was that it's so important to the city that nobody would mess with it. It's just too important. It would literally, if anything were to happen to this, more than half of the city would instantly shut down.
In other words, there's no need for patrol because no crime happens around it in the first place.
Correct, because it's in the criminal's best interests that nothing happens to this as well. When I guess good and evil align, right? But
There's no reason for them to do anything to it, but plenty of reason for a terrorist to target it.
Right, those typically don't work on logic, so to speak. Where does Maldark
Case in
fall?
point, our current adversaries.
So back to Naz's explanation. Again, you don't know exactly like the exact inner workings of this, but you can follow most of this, and especially once the energy is converted to the arcane, you start to look at some of these conduits and such and around, and it is the basic principle of what we would basically call electricity. Electricity divined through, or I guess gained through arcane energies. How exactly this thing is converting lunar energy into arcane energy, the answers are probably not at this location.
Lunar energy.
Yes.
And it's implied that Nas was explaining this out loud?
It's up to him.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
Makoto, you kind of investigate around you have some arcane knowledge, but you're focusing your efforts on trying to uncover clues and that sort of thing. You start to look around, and those concentric rings, most of them have, kind of the coatings and wear and tear of time. A little bit of dirt, grime, mold from the weather, that sort of thing. But the centermost circle, it's almost as though it's been polished, or it's visibly different, though not completely apparent. Unless somebody was looking for it, they probably would not have noticed.
Okay, so Naz was saying this aloud, right? It's hard to keep up with the text.
Yeah.
Not overly?
Not overly, but you catch bits and pieces. He's speaking, but he's so excited, it's hard to, yeah.
It's super fast. That having been said, lunar, and this one disc is polished. I would know the symbol for Tsukiyomi, right?
Yeah, of course.
Does it resemble that at all? Or could I trace that on there?
Okay, so you imagine your finger and you start to draw the symbol of the moon, of Tsukiyomi. Nothing immediately happens.
Don't see any symbols for the kami here. If there was one, that would be the spot it would be.
Well, this is only one of 6, and depending on what you find on your climb, maybe one of more.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that shit.
So the Tsukiyomi is a moon god?
Moon goddess, yes.
Interesting. Out of character, would I know if we have a new god of a similar role?
As far as of the moon, yes. But it is a different type, maybe, of role. Well, how much do you explain of the old role of Tsukiyomi Makoto, or you just kind of leave it where it is?
I'll explain it in as much detail as I can.
Okay. So
Cleric is asking questions.
So you guys would have a goddess that is very similar, but yours plays a much different cultural role. The goddess here of the like the moons, in particular, plays a role in luck and fortune. Kind of like chance.
Alright. I'm gonna relay this back to Makoto.
You have one god for both moons, huh?
Oh, you have another god for you have 2 gods for one for each?
Yeah, we call the moons Amaterasu and Tsukiyo.
I'm going to guess the other one is Amaterasu then.
Aye.
Interesting.
All right. So, anything in here, or are you guys continuing on?
I suppose we're continuing up.
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm
probably
thinking the
on.
same thing, Hal.
that is
That was
that is
that is-
correct.
Because I am not there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I read Richter's. Yes, Amaterasu is a sun god, but not in this world.
But one of the moons, yeah.
Mhm.
This was something I talked with Athrun before we even started. Amaterasu is one moon and Tsukiyomi is the other.
Correct. All right. So again, fast forwarding, you guys move up to the next X. Very similar things here. As far as the inner workings, the conduits and the piping is much thicker, much richer. That's about it as far as the inside. The outside, again, the same. The concentric rings, the T-shaped kind of handle, the catwalk extends itself. We're pushing. If you're climbing, you're probably pushing about noon at this point.
All right. So this is starting to sound like it might be kind of the rest of the day to get all the way from one side to the other.
If we're checking everything, yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The second one, you're pretty much going to discover the same things. The concentric circles, the center one is very kind of polished. The only real difference is the height, and it is much thicker as far as the electronic components, the mechanical components inside.
Also, things are looking much nicer for the view
Mm-hmm.
as we go along.
Moving to closer to the top.
I'm starting to think if they were going to do something, it would be at the top.
Well, we'll be up there after the next stop.
Yeah.
take a look at the top of the. We can take a look at the top of the ring from the inside and outside.
Okay, so
Yeah.
skip forward. You see exactly the same thing, but again, inside it's getting a little more difficult to kind of navigate. But you'll find that kind of release hatch. This is the point where it's really starting to be pitched more like a roof that you could actually stand on. If you would to move further up, you would actually see the inside kind of catwalk stops as there gains an access point to the top, where it's a little steep at first, but yeah, you could continue on foot on top of the ring.
That's convenient.
As far
Saves me a spell.
Yep, as far as the again, it just takes a long time and a long climb, and it's tiring. I don't know if you've ever climbed a ladder that's hundreds of feet in the air, but I imagine that would be exhausting.
I know.
I've hiked to the top of a mountain. Does that count?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I've done hikes on the AT. This sounds like Jesus steps. In New Jersey, the Jesus steps in New Jersey.
All right. So again, this third, exactly as I had described. The only difference is, again, the internals. The piping is really thick, like as thick as your thigh at some point. Whatever is kind of being channeled from the top is obviously being funneled down through the ring or up. You're not quite sure, but whichever makes sense in your head. As you guys kind of pop up on top, and at this point, you guys can fly, but it is kind of traversable on foot. What are your guys' passives? Let's see. Sight passive.
12.
My sight passive is.
I like that you specifically said that. You have one passive score, Maddie.
And
That
okay.
question was. Yeah.
So, yeah, it does matter. So, sight passive. Naz, you're going to see it first, and then very quickly the other two are going to see. At the top of the structure, first off, you can see that very large kind of central eye, the main focusing disc. It's so large that you can see it from the ground and different points in Tantibus. But standing off to the side, you see a figure, for lack of better terms, we're just going to say quote unquote dressed in black.
Just another person up here?
Yes, they seem to be very close to that kind of the large eye. It's several hundred feet in front of you, but you can see them. They are just appear to be standing there. You guys will have to get closer.
I suppose we approach. I'm gonna discuss with Makoto and Naz. Do we just want to play ourselves off as dumb investigators just sent up here?
I mean, that was the story before.
All right.
You want me to You want me to have a badge to make it more more plausible?
I mean, if you have one, I won't ask.
I don't. I don't, but gifts of the kami can take many forms, and I cast minor illusion.
Okay. And what is that illusion?
A badge.
Oh, okay.
Resembling the one the Bogatir has.
Yeah, no problem. You place it there on your lapel or whatever. A little short investigator, no problem.
The tiny, the tiniest investigator.
All right, as you guys start to move forward, you can. I'm gonna kind of describe the scene here. You can see again, you're still on the west side of this ring. You can see some sort of summoning type circle or arcane circle that has been placed off to the side, maybe 2 inches or so carved into the ring itself. You see a figure in black, but it doesn't appear to be clothes. It's almost as though they're covered in these raven-type feathers. They have long, jet black hair and skin as pale as the moon.
Ergakra?
I
We are
believe this is the
completely
point
covered
where I
in
want to
this.
make this check. Because I think I
Out of
know who this is.
Out of character.
Okay.
That's worrying.
So I'm curious who you think it is.
Do you want me to whisper it to you or say it aloud?
However you want to do it.
Kosui sister.
You're not 100% sure? It does, now that you look at her, it does kind of resemble the woman that you met when you met with Maldark. But extra, so to speak. Much more elegant, regal, almost foreboding. She turns her head to look at you three.
Boris is just going to wave. Are you part of the maintenance crew?
Do I look like maintenance?
I don't
No.
know.
I
Her
suppose you
voice
don't.
almost dances across the air.
I don't know. You seem to be more acquainted with the work than I am, so.
Yes, the work is very important.
Can I ask what you're doing up here?
We both know you won't like the answer.
No.
She takes her hand and kind of draws it on the corner of her lip.
This isn't worrying. Out of character.
Not at all. uh, I'm kind of concerned at Atherin's silence immediately after that, too.
He's pulling up a fucking spell. I know it.
You don't know what I'm doing.
Makoto's going to just take a few steps closer. Be that as it may, I would still like to know.
It isn't time yet.
Out of character, by the way. Is this on the center of the ring? Like
It is not
that-
on the center. You are off to the west side.
Okay.
Do I need to MS paint it again?
No, I can
Aw.
figure it out.
I hate it. Campaign canceled.
Wait, unless if you really want to, you can go MS Paint it, Atherin. No, I'm not gonna stop you.
No, we're fine.
Isn't time for what?
6 days. Stop us if you can.
I mean, I have a really stupid solution to stopping you, but I'm not going to use it until it's the last day.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. What are you guys going to do about this?
Is she attacking us?
She is not. She is standing there like she could care less that you're here.
I'm gonna vote we just keep going. We might as well, if they're not gonna stop us, we might as well at least see what they've got. And try and figure out what's going on before we just blatantly attack.
How about the other two?
Well, Uh, your friends all had names that we knew you by.
Yes,
would it
Naz.
would it be problematic for me to know yours?
You could ask my idiot brother. Kikobu, he
So
calls me. Kikobu. Bonus,
So you are close.
bonus inspiration if anybody can recall the point where you've heard that name before.
I think I can, but
Final dungeon of last
Dungeon of
campaign.
Last campaign,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kosui said that name specifically.
He did. He also said it one other time as well.
Ooh. Oh, is it when Makoto sent him the mental image
No.
of
No,
Maldar?
when Isao did that, you mean?
Oh,
Because
sorry.
I sure shit didn't do it.
Knew somebody did.
Probably the guy who's actually a psychic.
If you guys remember this, I'll give you a hint. You guys weren't in Tantibus. Anyways, we'll leave that there. If anybody does think of it, post it in chat, and I'll hook you up.
The
So-
poem.
What?
The poem he had.
No.
No.
Anyways, I know Boris's plan, and are you guys gonna move, like, just keep pressing forward? Is that the general consensus?
That's my thought, at least. Especially considering that that's Kosui's sister. We've seen what Kosui can do.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna cut to brass tacks. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to make Naz. You will have advantage on this because you're flying. Boris, I'm not quite sure if you're flying or not.
I've been climbing with Makoto.
Okay, I in my head you were walking. So I want Makoto and Boris to make dexterity saves. Naz, you can make yours at advantage. Excuse me.
A perfectly average deck save.
Naz, you can make yours. Yeah, there you go. Oof.
Holy shit.
Wow, it does not like you.
All right. So here is what happens. As you guys kind of start to walk forward, she says, "Left you some clues I have. Mind your footing." And she bursts. Feathers go flying everywhere as a small murder of crows start heading in your guys' direction. And think of like a scene from a movie where birds are just pelting into the engine of an aircraft. Again, this onslaught is coming at you. Naz and Makoto and Boris. We'll find out after a quick break. Let's be back here no later than 11.
You're. This might be the most dickish cliffhanger you've ever done.
You're welcome. All right, I am back. That was a hell of a cliffhanger, right? Do we have Boris and Naz back at least? Okay. Just posted the to be continued. Oh, it was very fitting, very awesome. And also that that bonus reward, if anybody can think of it, where that name has been mentioned before, it has been a long time. Probably 20 sessions ago, back in the Valoris original campaign. If anybody can think of that scene, post it in our Discord. The second what? Yes. Yep. And I gave you guys. Yeah, just type it in the Discord. That way we're not guessing the whole session here. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. I see the dexterity saves. And here is what happens. The ravens take flight. Makoto, Naz, you're both hit hard. You're sent kind of reeling. You get the slight sense of falling for a brief moment. And then you're not falling long, definitely not long enough to be falling off this structure. But the next thing that you remember is hitting ground. Boris, something similar happens to you, but not quite as extreme. You can kind of almost fight off this onslaught of this murder of crows or ravens, but you can kind of see materializing around you the city street below. You see your companions, Makoto and Naz, kind of lying on the ground in a small bed of raven feathers, as a small group of onlookers again stopped to ponder and see what had just happened. Maybe 7 people or so. Taking a few moments to get your wits about you, you realize that you're very near where you met that Vistani. You are on the ground. Sorry, where some of the other characters. Boris, you kind of look around and you know of this district. You know, again, gypsies and that sort of thing frequent the area. Couple feathers ruffle out of your kimono.
He makes me just want to bolt.
If it makes you feel better, it seems like she doesn't like him very much either.
What lovely families. Alright, I should probably report that to, Yosef. It's, the question is now, what are they doing up there? Now that she
Makoto's
knows
just
that we
kind of
know.
like glancing around. Maybe we can explain this some other time.
Perhaps. Nothing to
So-
see here. Move along with your days. But
Again, the onlookers quickly kind of seeing the insignias. Minor illusion is not a concentration spell, is it?
I don't believe it is. Let me
Okay.
double check.
So we'll go with this if it's different.
It's not.
It's just, okay. Same effect. Seeing the badges, they quickly kind of turn their heads and go about their business. Boris says he's going to report to Yosef. I'm assuming you two are going to go back and meet with the group.
Yeah, you tell Yosef. We'll go and inform the others.
Alright. I'll meet you,
Fuzzy
where would
Dragon?
we- Yeah, Fuzzy Dragon.
All right, we're going to say the group is back together. Boris, the conversation with Yosef, he's, in short, he's glad that you were able to find out something. He's tasking you with protecting this ring, and if others need called in, only say the word.
Cool.
So it's official then.
Yeah, it seems that we are official. We've got the help we need, and we know the time, and we know where they are.
And we can't. And with a certain someone sitting there, not much we can do until the appointed time. At least to influence things. Mako's just gonna glance around. Is Kosui nearby?
He actually is not.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
You don't think he would take being called dumb well?
No, I don't think he'd appreciate effectively being told that his sister doesn't want to see him either.
No, probably not. Actually,
Huh.
now that you mention it.
Yeah, we don't need two demigods duking it out on top of the single most important structure of Tantibus.
That could be devastating. But could
I
it
mean,
be
it
used
would
to your
s-
advantage?
It would solve our problem, to be fair. When Boris, how busy is the Fuzzy Dragon?
I mean, it's usually not packed until much
Okay.
later in the evening. But yeah, there are quite a few patrons about.
All right, so if are we just kind of discussing in a quiet corner?
Yeah,
Away from
or
other people?
they have rooms as well.
I don't know. Would we all want to get a room to discuss findings and such?
This is where most of the party has been staying. So
we
they
currently
have,
live there.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Would I be around for this?
Yeah, the party is back together.
Ooh, fancy.
So I'm going to comment that, let's see, in the event that everything goes to shit and we still can't figure anything out by, say, about the hour of the of the ritual. I may discuss taking some more drastic measures of prevention.
I do not like the sound of that.
I mean, I don't like it either, but with months and or weeks and or months and or years without power is still better and preferable to destruction of city.
That having been said, I feel like knocking the power out and causing this ring to collapse is exactly what they want.
It very well might be. I really do not know. But whatever they're doing, it's on top of the ring.
And there
I
was
able, by the way, to track down where the Merkava uniforms came from.
I'm all
Shopkeep.
ears.
There was a shopkeep, sold them to Brother Fist, at least by description. That's really the dead end of the information, but at least we know exactly where they got them from. Transaction.
One thing of note, by this time, Brother Fist would have been dead.
Oh. Right. Shit. Well, no, because she said that he was the one who placed the order, but somebody else picked them up. Because he placed the order like a week ago, she said.
Dang it, you didn't fall for my trap.
I remember things. Trying to trick
No,
me.
you are correct.
So Brother Fist placed the order a few weeks ago, and then somebody else picked them up in the last few days, presumably after his death. Not entirely sure if any of this is even helpful anymore, but at least we know the source of the uniforms.
Did you find anything about the plant?
Out of character, the plant.
There was a turncoat in one of the carts.
I'm pretty sure he just disguised himself as Merkava, and I mean, obviously, or he's just a mercenary, but disguised as Merkava to get on board and then do his job for the brothers.
So nothing
Nothing in particular, no.
nothing internal.
Didn't seem that way. It seemed like this was just a shop where they happened to buy these uniforms.
Still comes off as kind of strange. You'd think a shopkeeper would understand the implications of selling the same kind of uniform as local officials to
One would
random
think.
strangers.
It was a shop in the slums. Money's money.
Fair point.
They also gave up said, not by name because they didn't have a name, but by description, their client as soon as I dropped a couple coins on the table. Money's money to them. It was a job. They paid in cash.
They didn't ask questions.
Exactly. They were hired. They did their job, and they didn't ask too many questions because they didn't want the answers.
Well,
I suppose I don't have too much room to talk.
so what did you guys do?
Oh, we did a bit of reconnaissance on top of the ring. You'll never guess who was up there.
Wait, how did you get up there?
Well, I mean, aside from the standard maintenance hatches that they would need in order to get up there in the first place, Zuka, how do you think I was able to get up there?
our usual means that we're intended to do? Like, you know, nice and legal?
We did use legal means, yes.
Alright, well, as long as you don't get yourselves in any more trouble. More so than usual.
You know me so well.
Hmm. So, who did you meet up there?
Out of character's the name. I need to hear it a few more times to commit to memory.
Kikobu, I think it was?
Kikobu.
Oh, we met Kikobu up there.
Shizuka will just tilt her head to the side.
Kosui sister.
Then she looks around to see if Kosui's there.
Don't worry, he's not.
Oh.
Not around.
Because last time you mentioned her name, well...
Isao, why is everyone pinning what you did on me?
I didn't say it was you, I'm just saying last time he heard the name.
I heard. I could have sworn I heard the word "you" in there. I'm sorry.
No, it's alright. But, so what was she doing up there?
Something.
What was she? The moon.
Preparing for a ritual. That
What
is going to
ritual?
happen.
What preparations? Why there? We have no context.
Well, I believe we heard. Well, it was 6 days, and that is the eclipse.
6 days, and she's left us clues all around.
Pros.
Well,
She's been.
I know who will be visiting in a bit, but why would she be helping?
And the question is she helping?
I mean, given the fact that she used crows, you said?
Yeah. Tick tock, tick tock, and we've got a time limit. Tick tock, tick tock. Sound familiar?
Indeed. I think I need to pay a visit to her, though.
You cut out there. What?
I think I need to pay a visit to a certain folk. Will you be coming along?
That depends. What folk?
The one who gave us that oh so delightful gift of a reading. You know.
The Vistani?
Indeed.
Interesting.
Well, if you are going, do make sure to be back soon.
Why, what's wrong?
From what I heard from the last time, you guys took a little while.
It was only 5 minutes.
Zuka, we were in that tent for 3 days.
No, we were in another plane of reality for 3 days. There's a difference.
Yes,
From
because
my
that makes sense.
perspective, it was 3 days.
From the perspective that currently matters, it was 3 days.
Also, I've been sort of out of it. Where has Zendra been?
Good question. Out of character. Where has she been?
Well, you know, she's just picking up the pieces of her life, and no, she's retired to an inn room and hasn't really been doing much of anything.
Funny that, now that she doesn't have a heart in her chest.
I'm going to check on her before going.
Alright.
So Shizuka will just head back,
Okay.
like for a few minutes, and head back.
Yeah, no problem. So you head up to her room. I imagine you rap at the door in a kind of a very solemn voice. Yes, enter.
You cut out, what'd you say?
Yes, enter.
And Shizuka will enter.
She seems to be seated on the bed, kind of half tilted towards a small window. The curtains are barely drawn open.
I know this is probably a question, but how are you feeling?
She kind of raps at the apparatus that is attached to her. Could be worse. She almost half smiles.
Shizuka just comes by and just like gently pats her shoulder. Don't worry, we'll stop.
At least that would be something. Had I but the strength, I would pick up the sword and join the fight.
I'm sure you will. For now, just...
I will do what I can, give you support from the sidelines. And her head, you can see her chin visibly kind of dip.
Shizuka turns to leave, but then stops. She goes into her bag and pulls out a holy symbol, but like she has it like her hand covering it.
Okay.
She walks over to Zendra, like gently takes her hand and pushes the medallion down into it. And she says, oftentimes when I found myself struggling and, lost, I would hold on to this, just reflect. I don't know if that's what you need, or I don't know if that's what you want to hear, but times like these, you just need to take things into stock.
And out of character, this is like your holy symbol that you had before you were reincarnated?
Yeah. Like
Okay.
she's passing it on to Zendra, or at least trying to give her some comfort.
That's great. She extends her hand, not knowing exactly what it is that you're handing her, but you drop it in her palm, kind of sweaty and clammy, like they've been pressed together for a long time as she's been sitting here. She looks at the emblem and then over to you. She doesn't quite, you can see on her face that she doesn't quite understand, but she takes her fingers and lightly kind of caresses this emblem, and as you're exiting the room, she doesn't utter a word, but you can almost hear kind of gentle droplets falling on it from her eyes.
And
take a point of inspiration for that. That was great.
Oh, thank you. And Shizuka will just like gently close the door.
No, very good.
And
You're
she'll head
not
back.
sure if that helped, but it knowing that symbol once gave you a great source of inner strength. Perhaps Zendra too will kind of channel upon that and kind of make sense of her life and bring things into order.
Well, that's the hope. And Shizuka will head back down.
So how'd it go?
She's hurting. She's alive physically, but mentally and emotionally, I tried to give her comfort.
She's lost a lot. More so than probably, well, most of us anyway.
I'll be honest, I can kind of understand her. Anyways, I'm going to go see the Bastani.
I'll join you.
Would anyone else like to? Al, would you like to meet them?
I'd prefer to stay in this plane of existence, no?
Zuko will just roll her up.
My boss would kill me.
Plus, somebody's got to keep an eye on the place, make sure nothing happens to Zendra in the meantime.
True enough.
True. Well, Asao and Naz are more than.
I also might have a few leads I want to run down as well.
Fair.
Okay.
Oh, Naz, you're coming? Alright.
All right. So, two kitsune and a gnome walk into a Vistani.
Welcome to a tent.
If Naz didn't
Welcome
say
to
it, you know,
Tantibus.
then like, oh hey, I guess it's Fox's night out.
Oh, that's funny. You guys head back to a place that Makoto has recently been, and you find the fortune teller that you once saw before. Before you enter, you kind of pull back that very thick tapestry. Looking down from a perch, you see a raven just kind of watching you as you enter. You almost hear that kind of cackling sound as you pull back that thick tapestry, and the smell of the burning incense instantly is going to hit all of your noses.
Oh boy. Out of character, this must be sending Naz's nose into overdrive.
That depends. Is it magic?
Well,
That or overly repugnant.
it's herbs. Though, I mean, there are lingering effects of magic about, but the smoke itself, no, probably not.
He probably smells the magic more strongly from us.
Right?
At the moment. The fucking
I forgot
smell
it's
of
a
our
mechanical
spooky master.
nose. God damn it. He's more machine now than gnome. Oh, that's too funny. Again, you guys enter. The madam who once gave you the reading is kind of seated Seiza style on a kind of a lush pillow as you enter.
Out of character, what time is it?
I imagine we're approaching evening here.
Shizuko will bow her head and just say, "Good evening."
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So we have taken your advice, or rather your words to heart when you told that,
Is that so?
and I fear our action may not be in.
Sometimes fate is a hard thing to overcome.
It's why I've actually come to ask you. And she pulls out the tarot deck and places it in the center between them. If it's possible to defy that.
You're giving her basically free reign to touch the cards.
Yes.
All right, so she kind of straightens herself a little bit. Not that she was really slouching, but just some small, slight movements. She pulls out her left hand, and you can kind of hear the jangle of her bracelets as she runs her fingertips just very lightly over kind of... it's still in a wooden box, I think, over the wooden box, with her right hand extending it out, popping open the case and pulling out the cards. Nothing in this life is set in stone. Even we Vistani were able to escape our fate. Perhaps too. You, your friends, those here and those who support you on the sidelines might be able to do something about it. And she starts to shuffle the cards and moving them around, spreading them out in a wide kind of pile, bringing them back together, shuffling in and out.
Hold up. I don't mean to be rude, but is this going to bring us out of the material plane for 3 days again?
Notice that, did you? And a small smile kind of creeps across her face, starting very, very slowly in the center and then reaching out to her outer lips. A quick reading then.
Please. And being trapped in in another plane was interesting, but it ultimately set us.
One moment, as I must contact my DM to have him stand up and go in the other room to grab his cards. Be right back.
At that point, she's like, wait a minute. She's like, we'll
What
just
now?
turn to
At this moment,
Naz.
the pigeon flies through the window.
Just turns to Shizuka and says, get the hell up.
Unfortunately, it speaks bird, and Shizuka does speak that.
Doesn't.
We speak Sylvan, thank you very much.
Yeah, Sylvan is not avian.
Oh yeah, you're right, fuck.
Fortunately, Makoto has beast speech and can relay that to you. Oh, God. That was a lot funnier than it should have been. Yeah, that brings me back.
Yeah, and here I was thinking of trying to come up with like a corny or cheesy Fire Emblem-esque Great Chains of Fate sort of thing. But no, Ather decides to pull that. Can't top that.
I after a LARP session with Buren,
Mm-hmm.
like we were sitting in his room and just kind of having like an in-character conversation, and then when the NPC got interested, he was just like, Nemesis puts down his DS.
All right, I'm back. Unfortunately, I packed them away, so let me pull up a random generator.
Oh.
Stupid moving.
A pigeon flies through and steals the cards.
Oh my god.
Shizuka will fire off a magic missile barrage and should kill the bird. Like, no, I need that.
I found out that in Phantom Hourglass there's a dungeon you can't go back to after clearing it, and if you don't pick up the heart container at the end of the dungeon, the dev team mails you the heart container.
Wait, what?
Yeah. You get a letter in the mail with no return address, and then the letter says, "Hey, we've been watching you, and you forgot this," and then you get the heart container, and it's signed from very high up in the sky.
Very.
Miyamoto's like,
right.
"No, you're grabbing this fucking heart container."
So, here's what I want you guys to do. We'll do a quick reading. Those who are wishing to participate in the reading, let's do it one at a time. Roll me a D100.
You first, Zuka.
What is the D100 on here?
D10, and then right click percentile.
Where do I drop it?
Just like any dice in the chat log where people have typed.
Or you could keep it interesting and go into the dice tower.
Or the
Not
dice
that it
tower.
actually matters
You guys don't
because
see,
I
you
have
can't
no
see
idea what
the
it means.
chart anyways, so.
I mean, that's what I was asking, either that or dice tower, so...
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Shizuka, as you draw the card, It kind of, again, you draw the card, place it kind of face down. The madam grabs the card, says a few things in a language that you can't comprehend. The candles that are in the room kind of dance. They flare up and then kind of settle back down, but moving very quickly back and forth. The incense becomes a little bit stronger in the room. Where is that wind coming from? She flips over the card, and you see a very familiar face. Before, you would have seen this face as a soldier, but now, sitting before you, the two of glyphs, the missionary, you see almost a one-to-one representation of Zendra, a stool, but she is not carrying the tabards of a warrior, neither sword nor shield, but in her hands you see almost like a holy book, and clutching underneath her neck you can see a holy symbol of sorts.
Does she recognize the holy symbol? Like as the one
It's
that she
hard
gave
to
her?
make out, but yeah, in your mind it looks very familiar.
What is the name of that again?
Isabel?
Of this card?
No. Yeah.
The
It's
missionary.
it's the missionary. It's the two of glyphs. You can take that obviously how you will, but just how things have played out, is it coincidence?
And Shizuka just stops saying.
The madam speaks. Again, support can come from anywhere. Those unknown to you, those very close. And as she looks to the next person, if someone wishes to have a reading.
Dakota's gonna sit down next to Zuka and draw a card next.
Okay, D100. Ooh, I thought that was going to be an ought.
That am I drawing from a deck of many things?
No, it is just a random table of the Taraka deck.
Okay, I'm kidding. Draw an ought, fucking just get pulled off existence. All right, roll up a new character.
Oof. All right, so you reach into the deck, pull out your card. She does her seance. Flips the card over. The Seven of Swords. Now, at first glance, it looks as though you're staring at the face of a dead man. A Brother Fist. But no, this is not Brother Fist. Although he was kind of built strong of nature, this man is much stronger. A true, almost warrior. Again, the hood pulled over the face. You can't make out the face or eyes, but you swear that you know this person.
Hal?
It is not Hal.
Okay.
Hey, wait, you said Seven of Swords?
Yes. Hooded
Or
one.
Is it Hal? It's not
No.
Hal.
You remember
That would be an amazing twist.
you remember back to your meeting with Maldark and Kikobu and the other gentleman.
it was him. Third guy.
Some are friends, those who will assist you, and yet others who lie in your way.
Certainly had my fair share of those.
Beware this one. I fear his path lies on revenge. And that brings us to Naz if he wishes to participate. Typing intensifies. Okay, D100. Right click on the D10 percentile and then drop it in the chat. Boom. 70. All right, you draw your card, place it on the table. She does her machinations with it, flips that card over. The 7 of glyphs. On this, you see the charlatan, a person masquerading. Even though you say hit and perhaps your friends kind of look over at you as this is neither the time nor place for these sorts of games.
Makoto does smirk a little bit.
Right, that is funny as shit.
Naz just says, not that kind of game.
Naz
Shizuka
does?
just says, I'm sorry, go ahead, shut up. Sorry, go ahead. Shizuka says, Naz, not that kind of game.
All right. It reveals again the figure of the charlatan. His face is completely obscured. You cannot see. But bare-chested, wearing nothing but really trousers. The only thing that really sets this character apart are the 2 small black smudges on either shoulder. You feel as though this is important. Like you've met the charlatan. But again, you maybe hesitate. Who could this be? And the Vistani speaks. And some are neither friend or foe, but are simply here. Sometimes getting in the way, other times assisting. The charlatan moves in and out of the scene as they so see fit. DM Cluebat, you guys have enough information to at least draw a conclusion.
So I just want to go over the cards real quick. I drew the 2 of glyphs.
Yes, the number 2 of glyphs, which was the missionary.
And
It absolutely looked like Zendra, but Zendra with maybe a class shift.
Makoto got the 7 of swords, and
What is the
True.
7 of swords? Like
the hooded one.
the hooded one. Okay.
Yes, you thought that maybe it's Brother Fist, but it is a different individual, one that is seeking revenge, the Vistani said.
Edward.
N-
the only thing I
Edward
can
is
think of.
not of that build. Again,
That is true, but
you think that you have met this character, but I think everyone thought that it was Brother Fist, But now
But
you
he's
know that it is not Brother Fist. Perhaps,
And
again,
it's not
a family resemblance.
is not Kosui because Kosui is related to the reading. Previous reading in a different way.
Let's take this back and let's use like stereotyped body types. Kosui, Edward would all have like that slender, wiry kind of build. This person is like, think like Ken Ryu from Street Fighter, strong but not like bodybuilder. This person bodybuilder like Zangief.
I appreciate the Street Fighter comparison.
You're welcome, Hadoken.
Yeah.
And at this, Shizuka just pause and wait. Were either of you two able to get a look at our dear friend the consul's build?
Grushenko?
Yes.
As the charlatan, it has the burn spots on the shoulders, right?
Black spots.
Black spots.
And that is correct.
That the charlatan is Grushenko.
No, we should be worried.
He is neither enemy nor friend, which does line up with our experiences with him. He's definitely not the hooded one, based on process of elimination.
Correct. He does not have anywhere near that sort of body type.
And Grushenko's covered in Naz's reading.
Yes.
But who?
No, we just
Who would be seeking revenge against us? Aside that actually has that build. Because it can't be Brother Fist.
Well, here's the thing. What I've come to understand with how this group works is they bring back the dead. We'll just throw them at
So you're saying they'll bring back Brother Fist in a similar fashion as they did with Richado?
Right. And given
Seems-
that seems almost too easy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Those are the black spots on Grushenko, yeah.
Yeah, Grushenko's, they were obviously hand imprints. Again, it kind of looked like a tattoo, but it was different. And it looks like they're, if somebody came up behind you and tried to, like, jump up and put their hands down on your shoulders, like, press down, like, right there next to your neck on your, like, above the clavicle. That's kind of what Grushenko's look like. In the card, it's obviously black spots as... mystery, mystique.
Wait.
You have something?
We've never gotten a good look at how Kiev outside of the clothing he wears.
Right. And
Yeah, take your clothes off.
I'm not. No.
That
No.
is always hunched over. But
He is.
this could be someone we've never met. This could be him. This could be someone who thinks gives. But so out of character, did the Vistani say that she knew that they knew who this person is, or that they had or that they recall seeing someone who looked like the hooded one?
So the Madam Seer, she doesn't necessarily give specific answers. The cards are for the recipient. She is merely a medium trying to explain.
Interpret.
Yes.
Yeah.
But ultimately the interpretation is based on that individual's perspective.
Mind's eye and all that shit.
So either he comes back, we have someone within Stars Creek who also know that we don't quite know yet.
Or we could be looking too hard at the build.
That's sad.
And it is tough because, I mean, if you look, when you saw the card that Shizuka had flipped over, I mean, plain as day that you swore that the artist on this card used Zendra as the model. Whereas some of the other ones, they're a little more obscure.
A little more vague. I think we're wasting time sitting here thinking about it. I'm sure it'll be something that, well, like the last reading, it'll become clear to us when it's important for it to become clear.
All I'm can hope for is that that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen too late. I didn't hear you clearly.
I'm only happening that revelation or realization doesn't come too late.
Agreed.
Because we don't need to lose someone again.
We've lost a lot already. At least I haven't lost you yet. Came close a couple times.
All right. Anything else with the Vistani?
I think we're done.
We're done here, and Shizuka will just nod to the Vistani and put the cards back in the box.
Okay.
Pull it up.
As you guys go to exit, you no more than pull back on that tapestry, and the Madam Seer says, "One moment."
Oh right, payment.
Well, that's not what she's saying. But as you guys are reaching for your coins, she will say, "There is an ill wind blowing. I have noticed it. It carries bad tidings. It is sign of the Raven Queen. I fear she has returned. Woe be to any man or woman who cross her path. Lest yet make a pact with her."
The Raven Queen.
Wait a minute. Where have I
Kikobu?
heard that? Where have I heard that before? And Shizuka's like starts scratching her head.
That would be Kikobu, wouldn't it? Or am I drawing a
Again,
connection
you
where
guys
there's one?
interpret it as you will. She might just be stark raving fucking mad. If anybody knows about the Raven Queen, it would be one of our party members, maybe through knowledge, but
That was Crows, you're right. Yes.
yes. But the Raven Queen out of character is pretty big in 5e lore for a particular class.
And 4E lore.
Yes, thank you,
if
and 4e.
memory serves.
Do people still
Wait,
play
you know-
that?
Wait, you
Well-
know 4E lore?
I know about it because it's pulled originally from 4E lore, and like, long story, not important. But no, it's part of like old school 4E lore. That like I've pulled stuff for like inspiration for things that I've been working on.
Oh.
All right, you guys, as you're walking out, you see the moons high in the sky, kind of lighting your path. Not nearly as long as the other times, but it has eaten up the rest of your evening.
Eh.
Old school 40.
Shizuka will, if there are any shops open, like she'll just, I know we should probably go to Kiev for this, but I need a gear upgrade. date, and I don't think he'd be willing to be open at
I mean,
that.
we could check.
That, and I was hoping that the Bastani here would have a ritual for Daigo and I.
Oh, yes. You guys can take care of that. It won't be but a few moments. She is essentially going to give you a little bit of homework for you to do that you'll be able to complete over the next day or so. And then what we had said in Privy will come true.
Okie dokie. So, Shizuku will also pay for that because you did give me a price. So she just pays the Bastani up front and just, well, I got what I wanted, so I guess we can head over to Kiev.
Okay.
How much did the reading cost?
What did you guys tip her?
I tipped her 1,000.
Jesus.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of gold, but also,
She's helped us.
well, she's helped you a
Twice.
lot too.
Yeah.
Well, I think that covers it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I was gonna say like 50 gold, and then big spender over here.
Well, no, more likely because she gave us 2 leads so far. That, and she also gave Shizuka what one of the things she wanted.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
So-
that was a much higher number than I was expecting.
Well, you know, gotta have some consumer loyalty.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, back in character, Shizuka will just turn to Naz and Mikoto. So, what do you two make of it?
Well, so far I'd say this is pretty simple. We've got an acquaintance that'll help us, one that's seeking revenge, and one that's going to stay at arm's length.
Right. But then here's the thing: you say simple and there's nothing ever that's.
Yeah, but
Naz, what do you make of this?
is it me or is he saying more made-up words?
He's been acting pretty strange the past couple days.
I think he made that up, but from context, he wants to keep it. And that much I agree on.
All right, and we'll put you guys back at the Fuzzy Dragon there.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, I guess I'll do like Shizuka's shopping.
Yeah, we'll take that's out of character.
Oh,
We've
we can
already
do that
handled
off
it, so
camera.
yeah. Yeah, off camera is a good term. All right, you guys return back. The rest of the party is mostly there, I think.
Well, we're back.
Please tell me we're still on the same day.
You've only been gone like an hour.
Oh, good. So you
I mean, it is nighttime. They were gone for quite a while, but it is same day. Mhm.
Only a few hours this time.
Oh, good. Yeah. we
Anything
were-
interesting?
Well, the thing is, Brother Fist might be coming back.
Why do you think that?
Because
We already had one old acquaintance come back.
yeah,
Dead.
and considering that this was an ally of theirs and a very potent one at that, it would stand to reason that they would bring it back. That and the one who turned you into a hedgehog.
But if they were going to do that, they would have done it already with Hawk.
And reveal their hand that quickly?
But they've already revealed their hand, that they can revive people, or make them undead. But from what you've told me of yesterday, it was far and away anything even closely resembling Rachado. Only resembled Rachado in image, not in ability.
Well, to be fair, Rachado barely had a chance to do anything while his corpse did.
Well, what was the specific reading that makes you think this?
Makoto?
The hooded one. An adversary that we would have known, planning to come back for revenge.
Well, planning to come back for revenge or come
Well,
after us? For
plotting revenge. You're right.
It's possible that there's just a higher ranking member of the Brotherhood who wants revenge for his fallen comrades.
Dark? Wouldn't that be Meldark in that case?
I mean, it's not necessarily one of the Brotherhood. He's using them for sure, but it's possible those were his lieutenants and he still has his general in his pocket.